carry over a 1 week of vacation for the town administrator, Heather Guglielmi. So I had put in a letter that seems to be somewhere between papers right now at the moment. But
Yes.
essentially,
It's in there, I saw it.
oh, it is in there? Okay, excellent. So essentially what I was requesting is to carry over 1 week of vacation time from fiscal FY14 into FY15. And one of the requirements is that the extraordinary circumstances, and the extraordinary circumstances I described in the letter were that I began in March, and at the end of the first month I was there, my administrative assistant had resigned, and I ended up having a volunteer assistant. Then we moved on to the annual town meeting, annual town report, annual town election, Prop 2.5 override vote, and numerous other things along with the budget. That being the case, I have unfortunately not had the opportunity to take any time off.
Make a motion we grant.
Approve the request for carrying forward 1 week of vacation.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, Heather, you have a couple items. You have 7 minutes. Can I start by saying though, that on Thursday night at 6 o'clock upstairs is the public hearing with the PQB for the proposed bylaw. So hopefully all of you have read chapters 1 through 3, you're starting chapters 3 through 6, you've taken notes in the columns, and you're ready for it to come before you, and or you have time Thursday and you'd like to come at 6 o'clock upstairs. Okay, go ahead. All right, first thing, we've been working on financial planning with the Finance Committee, Donna and Vicky, and we are doing pretty well on that. That's still going to be a long ways off, but we are making progress every week. We have been meeting. Right now we're working on our 5-year plan and essentially looking at revenues and expenses. One of the things we're kind of hung up on at the moment is our expenses. We won't be able to have a better prediction until we actually figure out what our budget's going to be after July 1st. So once we get that number, we'll be able to move a little bit more. Otherwise, we've been working with other towns and communities to figure out their examples and how they've done this. Next thing, informational meetings and videos. So over the next 2 weeks, we actually set up some informational meetings to talk about Prop 2.5 budget if anyone has any questions. So we have our first one coming up at the Highway Department. We had mentioned this last week. First one's at the Highway Department this Friday at 10 a.m. If you have any questions, you want to just come and check out the Highway Department and see, what they're operating with right now. We'll be there, myself, Randall, hopefully some members of the Board of Selectmen will be able to be present. Paul from ECAT will be there as well in case we get any interesting questions and answers we can put on footage. We're also working on taping up videos for various departments to actually be able to give people information of what those departments do, who those people are, and some of their responsibilities and what they currently do with their funding. We're working on those now. What we do is before we put anything through, we always work with the state departments, OCPF and ethics and elections, just to make sure that we're in complete compliance with everything and all their regs and rules on that piece. Other informational sessions coming up. If you can't make the one on Friday at 10 a.m. at the Highway Department, we also have one next week, which would be at 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. And that is simply just to go over, have folks while they're here for open office hours, have the opportunity to ask questions. The following one would be that Thursday at the school department at 5:30, and that is simply just to answer questions. The superintendent and a member of the school committee will be present over at North. Other things, budget reviews and year end. Vicki and myself have been working with department heads, as she mentioned earlier, to go over where they currently are with their budget, if they look like they're going to be running over things, if they're going to be buying anything at the end of the year, if they need advisory on, if they really need something, and what they really need, and what things can wait till the next year, and the like. We met earlier this week, myself, Donna, and Vicki, and the last week as well, to speak with SoftWrite, the auditing system, the accounting software and the treasurer software to talk about purchasing order systems. We actually have the software already in place. We can set it up on all the computers for no additional cost. The problem we're running into is simply how to get it to the external computers like the highway, the police department, the like. We're looking at maybe seeing if we can have them tap in externally, what have you. We're going to have to remote in, have to see what those options are. But in the meantime, we're looking at trying to set up a purchase order system for
for the first. Wouldn't cost us anything additional for the software, we might have to look at what our options are for training, that would be the only place that would be a cost associated. If we set up the purchase order system, it'd actually be nice, it would allow us to have things integrated in with the regular billing system, and also have us opportunities in the future to adapt to other systems and programs they have, including their budget system and also their bill pay system. Audit, where are we with that? I think we updated that with Nilda earlier. Essentially, we've been working with the auditors from Melanson Heath, and we have just finished their letter to them. We are also working on getting our commentary back on responses of their management letter, and we should be meeting with them in the next week or so. Upcoming election and wording. One of the concerns from a lot of individuals I've heard, and I've had this from a lot actually, is they were concerned about the wording on the ballot. The wording on the ballot is taken directly from DOR's regulations, and their manual they put out called Prop 2.5. We take it exactly verbatim. We are not allowed to veer in any which direction. We have to do it as is. On the ballot, it says exactly that. It does not say the same thing as it did on the annual town meeting as an article, because those are two separate things. And the article's wording was, again, taken directly from DOR. So we didn't have any leeway in the language. People seem to be concerned that the ballot question does not say Prop 2.5. We are not allowed to say Prop 2.5. We cannot put a sign outside the door that says Prop 2.5 election. We cannot put a sign down the street that says Prop 2.5 election where it's on town property on the voting polls. There are certain things we can do, there are certain things we cannot do, and those are things we cannot do. We have spoken with OCPF, we've spoken with ethics, and we've also spoken with the state elections division, and they've all said we cannot do that. What things can we do? Well, we can do what we're doing. We can have open information meetings and open houses to provide information to folks. If they have questions, we're there to answer them. We can also have, this was an interesting one, we can actually have department heads write statements of opinion to, for instance, letters to the editor pertaining their opinion of the upcoming election. That is something we can do. We are authorized to do that because these people who are department heads are considered in policy-making positions, and they're allowed to do that.
But we're not?
You are.
I am.
Yep, you are. So that's something we may consider trying to do, is see if we can't get as many department heads as possible. So I think that would be really interesting if we all wrote a opinionated letter to the editor at the same time and swamped the Gazette and the Republican with 15 different letters.
I think the problem with that is they won't publish them all, so.
That's possible, but perhaps it would actually stimulate an article.
Maybe.
That would be nice. The next thing, meetings in July. We need to decide when we're having meetings for this board in July. If you want to, or we can wait till the following week.
Building inspector.
I'm sorry, what? Then following week is the election.
Building inspector.
Yeah, next week, so we're meeting next week.
The election's on Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
The election's Tuesday, the 1st.
First, yeah.
Well, I
But
have
if
no
we start
problem.
meeting next week, then we're gonna be off the payroll cycle again. That's gonna be
You need to be on
downside.
a payroll cycle.
Building inspector.
I know, but let's see if we get anything. I would say 2 weeks is fine.
Okay.
2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from?
Today. Well,
Our next
So the
meeting.
1st,
yeah, is that where you should put us back on cycle?
the 1st will put us back on the payroll cycle.
Building inspector.
I know, David, I hear you.
No one's answering me, I'm just, I
We
thought
just said that, we said we
won't be
wait
able
till
to
we
do
know.
it. Is it
Do
the
it, 'cause
election?
we don't know if we're getting one yet.
The elections aren't in this room, though, they're in the,
She's gonna throw, you're gonna throw an ad in, right? Craigslist or something?
Well, there's one here in MMA,
yeah, we can-
there's one here for Raintham, and Raynham, I'm sorry, and it's a 13.5 thousand population, and their pay is 55 to 65,000, 33.5 hour total work week.
We're right in there.
We're right in there. We can put it in MMA as well.
Maybe you post it in there and we put
MMA, the problem with that is
it on, and
timing.
we don't meet next week and hope to see if we get anything by posting it there.
we might wanna start with the
have
online
to be
version,
next
that only comes out, I think, once a month,
Yeah.
and that's more expensive to post than I believe.
You post it on the
26 for
administrative
the
position,
policy procedures.
That's the 19th, that's tomorrow.
No, when will we meet,
We're not meeting next week.
have a hearing on
I didn't think that was scheduled yet.
I thought I saw 26th.
What's that? A hearing with the PQB, top of the file?
No, I don't have anything scheduled on that
That's
thing.
not
What was the 26th?
Nothing.
our vacation.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right.
Oh, the 26th is Norris School, it's a Thursday.
The open house is.
Open house, or information session only, they do not.
So
have-
can we have it posted online at the MMA, skip next week, and regroup with the building inspector by, on the first?
Sure.
Yes, Heather?
Yep, it sounds good to me. And then my only other comment is just to let folks know, I'm not in the office tomorrow. I'm at a free training in Hadley for, public information officer training, I wanna say it's called. But it seemed like a very interesting training with some interesting connections and opportunity to network and get some great information.
What was that? I'm sure, something you said when you weren't breathing and you were just spitting out this stuff. I didn't know if you were gonna come up for air, so I just shut up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Heather.
She did. I mean, I can't remember what it was. But it was something that you covered, and I thought we should be doing something.
Purchase orders.
Purchase order, yeah. You're gonna have an informational hearing with the departments on that?
Yes, once we have the system set up. Right now, we're still working in the very beginning stages with Software. We have to figure out what information they need from us to set up the different account users. We have to set up permissions, figure out how to get to different computers. They're also looking into what our training options are, because we told them when they asked us what our budget is for training, I told them 0.
Well, I think you're optimistic.
Yeah, so,
I mean, with the training and trying to get everybody on the same page.
but the good news is that, we can set the amount to whatever we want. So we can set it to, 500, 100, or 1,000, whatever. You guys are just looking at the speed I'm talking, aren't you? 0, 500, 1,000, whatever the amount is.
Well, she gave you 7 minutes, so, you know.
Yeah, you're over.
I'm
Wrong.
sorry, I'll continue another
It's a
day.
gong
I
show.
have to say that you answered my question, even though I had a brain.
Let's do a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Bye. Bye, good night.